Just say it with a whole Cheshire. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scratching Post, where we scratch that gaming itch. It is Tuesday. It is the last Tuesday of August, and I can only mean one thing, and that's time for the Common Dead podcast.
Woo!
Hello! Bring on the air horns!
Hello.
None of us have it set up on a soundboard.
Yeah, well, that's Laura's department. She's just silly voices. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Common Dead podcast. My name is Evac, and I'm joined, of course, by Bert and, of course, Shadow and Lemming. So, for anyone who has not been here before, which I imagine is probably, well, I've had a few new people join us. Me and my friends decided that we used to stream a lot with each other, didn't we? All of us used to be on each other's streams. And then at the end of the show, we'd say, okay, shut the show down. And then we'd spend 3 or 4 hours nattering to each other about various topics.
Yeah, we used to play Star Wars Squadrons, and after Squadrons, it would be like an hour of just talking about stuff, all kinds
Or
of
2 or 5.
or 5 until the next day sometimes.
So we just thought, hell, just do a podcast. And so that's where we are. And so we are here to present basically our chosen news topics of the week, what we've been playing, as well as just talking about our main topic, which is going to be competition in games when games stop being games, and more than often that. So let us dive right in with it. Shadow, what have you been playing?
I have been playing several things. The time might have bled into one another, so I can't remember when. I can't. So I'm just gonna do the ones that I remember. I've been playing all sorts of stuff. I played a little bit of Civ 6 to get one achievement at a time because those games take fucking forever. I played some Raft actually. Played some Raft because that was in my backlog of long things. It's one of the survival games that I always really think I'd like, and then I get into the detail of you have to do this and that, and you've got to create a production chain. And once the production chain gets in it, my brain's like, "You're not doing this efficiently," and I know I'm not doing it efficiently. So then I don't enjoy myself because I'm not doing it optimally, and then I solve, and then I bounce off the game. That's not good, guys. That's not good. Not good for the brain. I also played some StarCraft 2 co-op campaign not the campaign, co-op missions with Burr, who is up there. We
With
were
a ducky on his head.
Yes.
We have noticed the golden duck.
Yeah.
I was Zagara, and he was
What duck?
I was Zagara, and he was the infested Terran guy who I want to call Zukov,
Yes.
but he's not Zukov. He's somebody else.
No, it was not General Zhukov. It was General Stukov.
Stukov. Look,
Close enough.
all Russian generals sound the same, okay?
Also based on how it looks in the current warfare, all Russians are infected.
I also played 2 small games that you can get. You can get them on Steam, I think, but I got them from GOG. A Building Full of Cats, which is basically a hidden object game, but the hidden objects are cats. Yeah, it's only like £1.
It's very cute.
It's adorable. I love it. And Sudoku Cats, which is basically Sudoku, but with cats.
With cats.
Yeah, and it turns out that I'm much better at Sudoku when it's with cats instead of numbers. I've noticed that for quite a lot of things. Like, if you give me a game which uses symbols instead of numbers, I grasp that a lot easier than symbols. Which kind of rolls into why I played a little bit of Baldur's Gate 3, but my computer Andromeda does not like Baldur's Gate 3 because she's running at minimum specs. So I'm not playing Baldur's Gate 3 until I get an upgrade, and then I'll play Baldur's Gate 3 again. And last game that I played, well, not last game because I am currently playing The Pedestrian, but last game that I did play and I really want to talk about is Alba, a wildlife adventure, where you are a small child who takes pictures of wildlife, like mostly birds, but there are some animals on this Spanish-esque island, I think, maybe Portuguese, and you have to identify them, and it's about looking after the environment and stuff like that. It's super cute. The sounds that the birds make are true to life.
Ooh.
So I identified a lot of birds just through just sounds, because I was like, oh, that's a that, and that's a that, and
There's a
stuff.
bird in my area that I recognize it's call, and so when you were playing that game, I heard it, and I had like a moment there where I'm like, wait, is that the bird or is it the game? And then you're
You
streaming
gotta,
it to it.
you gotta tell me
Yeah.
what sound it
Oh
was.
god, it was like one of those ones. I don't know.
One
Oh,
of
that's
probably one of the
that's
pigeons.
the neck dove. What's it called?
It's either the wood pigeon or the collared dove, one of the two.
One of those
Yeah,
two.
color dove.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
love
but
Albert. Yeah, I would thoroughly recommend Albert. It's quite cheap and it's really sweet and wholesome, and if you just need a quick like couple of hours game to just pass the time doesn't contain any fighting, that's the game. That's the game.
I've been befriending birds recently, actually.
Okay, yeah, please
Yeah,
God.
just in my real life. On
Oh.
my way to work, I walk down the street to work, and there's trees and stuff, and there are like seagulls. Go away! No, I don't want to. But there are also blackbirds. There are little blackbirds that putter around the base, and I've started befriending them by I take little Ritz packets, little Ritz cracker packets that multiple in one little pack to work, and I'll add them for breakfast basically, and I start opening them before I get to that street, and I'll take one or two and crush them up and throw them out, and then the blackbirds will come up and be like, oh, thank you, and start eating them, and I'm just every morning.
Oh,
So yeah.
so sweet.
yeah, blackbirds are nice, but
Befriend your local birds, everybody.
Yes, I
but
wish I could do that.
on the other hand, they are big thugs, and they are chasing away all the other birds from my mom's garden.
I had a
So
blackbird.
that's-
Yeah, I had a blackbird square up to me at one point. I was walking to work and it just landed on the garden wall next to me, tail up, like all fluffed up, and I'm like,
like,
"Sir, I am many times bigger than you. What are you trying to do?"
Well, they are the
None
mafiosa of
none
the
shall
world.
pass.
I mean, the only common birds I have grudges against are the seagulls, because
Yeah,
they
fuck
stole a
seagulls.
burger from me once.
Yeah, fuck seagulls. Nobody.
They
likes
hunt in
seagulls.
packs. Fuck them.
I know they're thugs. We hate them.
Anyway, who's next for games?
It's probably you.
Yes, it was. That's I'll move on to Lemming.
Excellent. What have I been playing recently? Escape from Tarkov had a wipe, so everyone started from the beginning, and they've added a couple of rather big updates. They've added a boss to one of the maps. The Streets of Tarkov map has an expansion and a new boss, which has added arguably the most powerful weapon to the game, the PKP, which is a machine gun chambered in the sniper rifle round. So that's in the game now.
Okay.
So that's basically, if anybody holds that thing, they're going to be very slow, but will mulch anything in front of them. But Streets of Tarkov is now officially the largest map in the game, and it's an urban setting, and you can go into virtually everywhere.
Nice.
So it is a maze, and it's a lot of fun. But that's not what I've been playing for the most part. Armored Core 6 is finally here.
How are you finding that?
I'm only 3.5 hours in because I've been ill for the last couple of days, and it's a very high intensity game. So I was not ready to play it when I wasn't feeling well.
I've heard a lot of people have bounced off the first boss quite readily.
Yeah, there have been
You
a
mean
number
the
of negative
tutorial boss?
reviews. Yeah, the tutorial boss is very difficult, to the point where there are certain negative reviews on Steam, for example, saying that they have quit the game and downvoted the game and are refunding the game because they can't beat the first boss.
But guys, I thought you were supposed to get good.
That's not even it. The whole point of the boss, the whole point of Armored Core isn't getting good, it's learning the boss's patterns.
Ah.
But that is what Dark Souls
Getting
is.
good, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's what Dark Souls is.
That's what
Yeah.
all the FromSoft games are. But
Precisely.
I have a question. Yeah, I have a question to you, Lemming, because you've played earlier Armored Core
Yeah, I
games,
played
right?
I played the PlayStation 2 era Armored Core games. And I always found the controls to be a bit clunky, but they were always difficult games.
Yeah, and they've always been done by FromSoft, basically. So
yeah, they were FromSoft before FromSoft became famous.
Yeah, how does 6 stack up in terms of difficulty?
It's a lot faster. With modern control schemes, mouse and keyboard, for example, is how I'm playing it. The controls are no longer set to classic PlayStation controls, so it's a lot more fluid, a lot more frantic is the word I'm looking for. When you're against normal mooks, you'll just mow your way through them. It's a lot of fun just to have, there are 15 bad guys in front of me. Multiple missile, shoot, slice, kill everything, taking minor damage. The part of the game that people are finding difficult are the bosses, because the whole point is you're not supposed to beat them on the first try. You learn what the bosses do, and then learn how to counter that. For example, the first boss is a giant helicopter. Natural instinct on a giant helicopter is shoot it. It's a ranged target, it's above you, shoot it. Shooting it does minimal damage. What you have to do is use your 3D maneuver. You have jump packs. You have thrusters, you have boosters. Fly in the air and hit the thing with your sword. It goes down pretty quickly when you learn that. It still takes me 4 tries to get it, but because I've done it twice. But that's how you do it. You melee the bugger.
I mean, the thing is that it's always been that with the bosses, and it's always been like that with other FromSoft games. You have the basic mobs that you just mow through, and they are just cannon fodder. And then you have the boss that's really many levels of magnitude above those standard mobs.
So I'll admit the first boss kicked my ass a few times, and still will if I replay it, but it's not impossible. I'm not finding it like an unsurmountable feat, unlike certain players seem to be thinking. But yeah, I'm going to be putting a lot more time into it in the future now that my illness is subsiding, and it looks to be fun. I do need to finish. I do intend on playing more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles so I can actually finish the campaign before the new stuff comes out. So I've got a couple of days to do that in.
Streaming this Friday, by the way.
We're gonna finish the DLC campaign together.
Yes, I need to finish the first campaign first, though.
So yeah, there's anything else, or is that it mostly?
No, that's basically it. Oh, and Legend of Zelda. I'm continuing that.
I just appreciate that. I'm assuming that's the most recent one.
Yes, Tears of the Kingdom, where I finally did the 4. Remember how in Breath of the Wild you had to complete the 4 different areas, and then you went and killed Ganon? Well, this one is I did the 4 major areas and then did what I thought was going to fight the final boss, and I realized I'm only about halfway through the game. I thought this was the final boss, and he's just run away, and I've got more things to do now.
No.
It's like, Act 2 unlocked.
Basically, it's like, okay, cool. I'm going to be playing this for another 100 hours.
Yeah.
But what?
You're going to see years.
So, but what have you been playing, and why is it not just Baldur's Gate 3?
It is just Baldur's Gate 3. Well, almost. But yeah, speaking of games that you play for another 100 years. So I might be addicted, just like a lot of people, at least 20 people on my friends list on Steam. Might be addicted to Baldur's Gate 3. It is a brilliant game.
Another run?
Another run, really?
Yeah. I mean, literally at David's wedding, half of what I've been talking to Connor about was Baldur's Gate 3.
Connor's got to release a video at some point. It'll probably be about Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, now how he said he might need an intervention.
Be careful, we'll have something as long as all of his Monkey Island videos put together.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it really is a brilliant game, and it really does show you that all you've learned about the schematicism of games and about games having the same set of rules and the same set of things you have to do. You just have to toss it to trash because it's trying to be as close to the creativity of a party, especially like a very chaotically creative party in an actual RPG, pen and paper RPG sessions.
I still can't dig up bloody treasure chests as a giant badger, though. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's
I'm a badger!
unfortunate and unfair. Yes. Yeah, you should be able to.
Yeah.
I never got that as well. But yeah, yeah. So Baldur's Gate 3 is on the menu for you. For me, it's been a bit of. Hang on.
I've also tried to find some common ground with Blasphemous, because you've been playing that, and
Yes.
you've talked me into maybe giving it a second chance after I've been mercilessly bullied by the mountain region.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it a second chance, and for a while it was really nice. Then I got stuck again, and I think I'll just leave it for a while again. Because in this case, I won't be able to count on Shadow to come to me and finish the game for me.
Sorry.
I'm like with Mario and Luigi Partners in Time.
Yes, I beat the final boss for him because I've done it before.
Yes.
And I forgot that the first phase that okay, so I just gotta point out how out of pocket the end of Mario and Luigi's Partners in Time is. Like the whole game is great, except for the very end where you've got two bosses, technically three, two bosses, one which has two phases and you cannot save between those three sort of bosses, I call them. You can't save, so if you get through the first one, get to the second one and fail, you need to fight the first one again. If you get to the third one and fail, you got to go all the way back again, and it's not great. It's not great
it is not great.
because I can't tell you too much without spoiling the end. But the first boss she's all right, you know. Like once you get her patterns down, it's okay, even though she can be a bit out of pocket sometimes. The second one, I forgot how bad she is. Somehow I must have been able to like blast through her first phase just to get to the second, which is easier. But the first phase is absolutely the worst. It's just like, yeah, so I do these attacks super quickly, and you will never be able to figure out whether I'm going to do one attack or the other attack. There's one attack where if you attack her at any point, she will retaliate against you. She will do a retaliate attack that you need to counter, and she does it in two ways. First, she chooses which Mario brother to go after, and then she does one of two attacks. Either she'll just charge them straight up, and you hit her once with a hammer, and she bounces off, and you have to hit her again before she moves back.
Mm-hmm.
Or she'll charge towards you, stop within a couple of seconds, like just out of range. So if you launch your hammer attack where you would normally, you just fucking miss her, and then she'll slam into you and do full damage. It's just like, excuse me, how the fuck was I supposed to tell? Kind of thing. You do not have enough time to swing your hammer and then bring it back up again for another attack, because the jump attack is an instant retaliation. The jump dodge is instant. The hammer is not. You have to hold the button to ready it and pull back and charge. And if you charge for too long, the top of the mallet of the hammer falls off, and your counter attack is gone. It's just. And then the second phase of the boss is easier until it gets to a certain. And then the last phase of the boss is easier because like it's more predictable in a way.
Well,
except the bit with the fucking, except for the bit with the fucking like big ball of nonsense where it's like, I'm gonna shoot random fireballs into it, like red, 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 green, 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 and that corresponds to which brother I'm gonna sort of throw it at, and I can't remember it because it happened so quickly. So I'm just like, I guess I just hit it and hope for the best.
I'm sorry, but I'm now of the opinion that all games need a big ball of nonsense somewhere in it.
And then there's the bit where she sticks her tentacles out and just sort of rotates, and you have to jump over them as it gets quicker. This is fine when there's 2, but when there's 3, it's basically like you will be unable to jump over all of this in time, and as soon as you fall down once, you're
You get
the
stun
brother,
locked.
you get stun locked, and that's if your brother doesn't fall over. And then if they fall over, you can't do anything. They just get hit and hit and hit and hit and hit and hit. Oh, and if you get stunned in any of these fights, your brother just does nothing. You can't recover them out of that. You just have to wait until they get hit again, and they go, "Oh yeah, now I can actually do attacks again," which is fine until they get stunned in the middle of an attack, and then it's just like, well, I just gotta wait for him to fucking die, and then. But I was so mad. I was so fucking mad. But
See, ladies and gentlemen, difficult games
Yeah.
existed
I
long
was
before
yeah.
Frostbite.
I
But
was
the
looking
test-
at Shadow fighting the boss, and I feared for my life.
Well, it
Bert
goes
can
to
attest that I was not. I was having a bad time.
I mean, we've done the whole dance about difficulty into the ground, I think, with
Yeah.
how games should be accessible to all. And
Mm.
I'm not saying the game shouldn't be challenging, but you should balance your games to the difficulty
Yeah,
level.
I definitely think that the Mario and Luigi games, especially the first 2, definitely Partners in Time, really suffers because you need to be quick. You need to be very quick on the quick time events in order to do it. And there's even one bro power, not bro power, it's a bro item, where you have to rapidly hit a button depending on which bro holds fireball, kind of thing, and it swaps around very rapidly, kind of thing. And that's difficult for me to do because
Yeah,
it involves going, oh yes, I see it's moved to this brother, which is this button, so I have to rapidly press this button, and then move to another, and then move to another, and then move to
Yeah.
another. That's difficult for me. For Burr, that's
Mom, I can't even press one button that fast.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Let alone 4 different buttons.
I mean, that's the thing is that this is why God gave us turbo buttons.
I
Yeah,
never
but-
had one of those.
I never had a turbo button,
Yeah,
but
but regarding Mario and Luigi games, after playing almost all of the partners in time and fighting the final boss about 12 times before I gave up and asked Shadow, like, please, please. And she did it for me. And playing Superstar Saga on Nintendo Switch Online, I would say Superstar Saga is even less forgiving and more bullshitty. Are you doing shots, Shadow?
I've got Coke in these glasses.
So yeah, it's just non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
Superstar Saga is even less forgiving and even more bullshitty. But luckily, Nintendo Switch Online allows me to rewind time
Yes.
and get things right and correct my own mistakes. Whereas Partners in Time, it's on 3D, it's on DS.
It's just on DS. It's never been re-released.
Yeah.
It's not even had like a remaster with additional DLC like Superstar Saga or the third one did, Inside Story, which is really
Yeah.
weird. It's like it's literally the brother that never got any attention. I don't know why, because it's really
Yeah.
good. Maybe it's because it was too scary for the youngest. Because that game gets a little bit
Yeah.
there's a bit with the Toad Woods, which is just like, oh,
Yeah,
baby.
I was definitely weirded out and disturbed by certain imagery.
Yes, so that was a game for kids somehow.
yeah. I mean, I would definitely not be able to sleep at night because of something. But yeah, so mostly Baldur's Gate 3, but also at the wedding, Shadow beat the Princess Shrub for me. And we were so happy when she did it.
Yes, I've played the game before and beat it several times. So it was just really, I could do it. I'm just really rusty at it, and it's just relearning how everything works and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm old, chat. I'm not as quick on the buttons as I used to be. I used to be really quick. I'm not now.
You
I'm an old
you were
woman now.
still don't sell yourself short. You were still amazing on the buttons, and you were very quick. And even despite the fact that this game frustrated you a lot, you did it. You beat it, and it was a really great sight to see. Though at one table, the Lewis and Connor and David and Crystal were playing loads of Waterdeep, and then a few tables over, Shadow was playing Partners in Time on my 3DS.
Fucking.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's me.
So
Cool.
what have you been playing this
What
month?
have you been playing?
Hello, Crystal. I've
Oh.
not really had time to play much because I've been finishing off some stuff with the RPG, but I have played some things.
It's free, finally.
Yeah, I've
My
played
bad.
Blasphemous, basically. Blasphemous, really good. I managed to get through that in about a week. Playing on and off, not of course. Playing after I finish work and I want talking to you guys and such. I also just started Blasphemous 2 because that is great. I do like Blasphemous 2 better than the first. I will say, like you, Shadow, with that, I have an issue with stun locking in that, where enemies deal touch damage to you, and unfortunately, I don't like the way they've done a lot of the parry and dodge in that, where if I parry an enemy, they might end up in me, so then I'll parry, and then I'll get a counterattack, and then I'll take immediate stun damage.
Yeah, there should at least be some like disengagement from
Yeah,
that, at least
yeah.
to push them away from your hitbox.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys saw yesterday, I got crowded in a corner where I was taking not just damage from attacks, but damage from touch damage, and I just got stun locked in the corner. I could not do anything. And I think that is just some bad design right there. I'm also
Sorry, if I may ask, did you test the iframes on the sliding? Because I suck at parrying in any game, so I'm usually trying to dodge things, and sliding in Blasphemous 1 was a godsend. I can like slide with iframes through a lot of enemies and just attack them from
thing
behind.
is, you can only do that when they're attacking, and sometimes if you're just touching them, they're not really attacking you, and so you just can't do that. I have tried that; it didn't work out for me. I literally just ran right into the enemy. So yeah, the bit of a bad experience there. I'm also disappointed the fact that you really, as you say, Bud, you bounced off the first Blasphemous originally because you got too far into it, and you got so far into it, and it basically became very difficult. Which I'm not saying that the game is bad, but it lacked accessibility options, and I'm disappointed that there's none in Blasphemous 2 still. And I feel like you can get away with it your first game, but even Celeste had things and these options. And I think we've reached a point now where games should be having these options, and gamers will roll their eyes and say, "Oh, why do we need an invincibility mode? Why this?" Like, well, you don't need an invincibility mode. You don't need to do this. There's a whole discussion about how, in the upcoming Spider-Man 2 game, you're going to be able to slow down the game at a touch of a button. You can just slow down it's not a mechanic. It's basically an accessibility thing. You slow the game to between normal speed and a predefined slowdown speed, which is either 25%, 50%, or 75% of the game speed. And Burr, you've said that in Jedi Survivor, you played the game at a 90% speed because it gave you it meant you could increase the window for your parry without increasing the difficulty to an uncomfortable degree, or sorry, lowering the difficulty to where it's just not a challenge.
Yeah, because when you lower the difficulty, the amount of aggressiveness is drastically lowered, and a lot of enemies just stand there, like in so many Assassin's Creed games where it was just ridiculous, where everyone was just standing, waiting, and not doing anything.
Waiting their turn.
Yeah, waiting their turn. With all my love for the series, that was something that was just ridiculous.
Yeah, I
But
could have.
yes.
Go, Shadow.
I could have fucking done with a slowdown thing for Partners in Time. Honestly,
Yeah,
like it wouldn't have stopped. It wouldn't have stopped the boss from being difficult, but it would have just given me like an inkling of when do I need to parry these attacks, kind of thing.
Yeah, it would have just brought the hard difficulty of the game for impossible for me to hard level difficulty for me.
Rather than
would have
being
had time to,
And when we're saying impossible, chat, we don't mean like we're not being coy there. That is literally impossible for Burr.
Yeah, he had to get my help, kind of
And
thing.
it's not a skill issue. It's up to Burr to say.
He got to the fight, like he got to the final bosses. Like, so clearly Burr has the skill to get through the game. It's just the final bosses are at such a peak that he cannot get over it.
I cannot physically overrun that. This is why also it took me 200 hours to finish Elden Ring, because I can learn I can absolutely learn the patterns, the things that the bosses are signalizing to me. I can learn all that. The problem is, if I'm not exactly quick enough, I will get hit by this particular attack, or I won't be able to fit between in the time window where I can attack them. And it's just when you're not quick enough, you have to be lucky for much longer to have your attacks hit, and it's really hard to keep being lucky very long.
I've seen you play Elden Ring. You're a lot more cautious than most kind of players that game are, because you know that you can't just rush in for a quick, take a couple of hits. You've got to wait for a big opening where you can you're going to get in there in time and get out. The point where you don't, when somebody say, "Oh, that's part of it," it's like, well, no, because there are other players who can get in, take a few strikes, get out, because they can quickly maneuver their hands to do that.
Yeah, but cannot physically do those acts quickly as we can.
You've seen how when bosses give me openings, I know when and how to get in, do some attacks, then jump out, re-strategize, and get those bosses eventually. But that's like when the boss is too aggressive at me, I have to be really lucky for a very long time, and at some point my hand will slip, and I will waste a lot of of time on this one approach.
Would an analogy be for like these kind of things? It's like saying to a one-legged man, okay, you got a one-legged man, you've got like a stick or one-legged person. I want you to race against these 4 people. But they're going to go at their normal speed. Whereas, and when he doesn't do it, I'll say, well, this person with 2 legs can do it, so why can't you do it? Which is like, it's clear why they can't do it. Whereas what you're doing here is you're basically saying to the other players, like, okay, you're going to race against these guys, but they're going to be walking. They're going to be walking. They're going to go at a slower speed than you would,
Yeah, chat. To have like an inkling of. Sorry, Burr, I'll let you go in a sec. To have an inkling of the difference between us and Burr. You know those things where those little mini games where you have to get a like your bar in the middle of, like, you've got a bar and there's two blue sections, and in the middle there's the orange section where you need to hit the swinging metronome kind of thing. For us, the bar is like a normal size. For Burr, it's very narrow kind of thing. We can hit the middle like pretty reliably kind of thing. Sometimes we miss. For Burr, it's. And there's also a delay for Burr as well. So he's not only fighting that little bit, he's fighting a delay as well.
Yeah, the bar is much like the bar that's impossible to jump over is much lower for me than for most people.
Hello,
also hello, Kennedy.
Hello.
So yeah, I've been playing Blasphemous 2. Really enjoyed them. I'm really looking forward to playing the rest of Blasphemous 2. I also platinumed Ape Escape, the original PS1 game. I did that yesterday.
Nice.
Very pleased with doing that. I've already gotten a bit way through the game, and I decided, you know what? Because Nico at Buddy Games is doing like a stream where he did a platinum, and I decided I will as well. You've been on Disco Elysium. I think I've beaten it for the final time. It's beautiful. I've actually got Disco Elysium. I played it once on my stream. I loved what I did play, but I've yet to get back to it. That's the problem. My backlog is about I've
sorry, go.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling that it's like that joke where it's like, let me look at my backlog, and you just kind of roll out the scroll and it just keeps on going.
And what is it with the video games industry right now, where it's like, so all these games that you really want, we're all going to release them this year? Like, no, stop, please.
Please, we're already dead.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to that.
I mean,
we'll get to that.
We've got Baldur's Gate 3 like right now. Starfield's early access is sometime this week, and like.
Yeah, I mean, I have like 70 hours in Baldur's Gate 3, and I have the least amount of hours of all the people that I know that play the game.
I had my first JRPG to dive into that came out today, which is Sea of Stars.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is not on my radar for like ages. Yeah, I'm just like, I have so many.
I mean, I played the demo, and it's absolutely brilliant because it had a demo on the Next Fest. And it was beautiful, brilliant. I love this game, but I have my plate full.
Put this way, Kennedy. We're not complaining. We're just saying that it's like that's just adding to our list.
There's just so much happening at once. It's just like, calm down, please.
Yeah, especially when between about February until about August, it was full of nothing pretty much.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say, Gerard the Constructionist is in Sea of Stars.
What was that? Was that the Constructionist?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Completionist, the Constructionist.
I've
seen his sprite work. It's so cute.
I need to see that. To be fair, I'm actually, and in fact, I think you might be interested in that because apparently I've seen some reviews and they like liken it to like Golden Sun in many ways.
I have played the demo and I really did like I did really like what it showed me. Like it was really good.
Yeah.
Hard as fuck though. Really fucking hard kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I had like easy gems on or something to try and reduce it, but
We've been
not for a little while yet.
Yes,
I mean, thanks to the fact that it's turn-based, I really enjoyed and embraced the difficulty in that game. And everything else is just chef's kiss.
Looking forward to it. It's almost. I literally was hovering on my Steam page, looking at it earlier, and thinking, I think I'll pick it up after today's stream. So it's going to be devastating me. Bethesda games are no Mortal Kombat, which I know that Burr would pick up Mortal Kombat most certainly.
I will.
Starfield. I'm probably going to wait on Starfield because there's not anything against Starfield. I just think I just got other games to play. Starfield can wait. I'll get to that main quest eventually.
Starfield has all the markings of being the next Skyrim, so we can pick up Starfield in 2030, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it.
I'll pick it up from my fridge once it comes out. Anyway, Lemming.
No, I'm just looking at my all the coming soons on my Steam wish list, and I'm just like, these have all been there for 6 months. Where are they?
I have Fae Farm coming out the 9th of September. Like fucking. I only just nearly completed Roots of Patcher.
Yeah.
Now it's like.
Yeah, my coming soons have turned into constant mails from Steam that these 5 games have been released now. And I'm like,
out of a dozen games on this list, one of them has a verified release date.
So already on mine, Tuesday the 19th of September, Lies of P and Mortal Kombat 1 release on the same day. So that's that, which is like, oof, ouch. The week later, you got Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty released.
Oh, forgot about that.
Oh my god, Under the Waves and Save Stars released on the same day. Fuck.
Yeah. And then
even if you're not buying the new Cyberpunk, all the updates that roll into the previous version.
Yep. On October 12th, you got Assassin's Creed Mirage coming out. A week, the next Tuesday on the 17th, you got Alan Wake 2 coming out. And then you've got literally 2 days later, 3 days later, on the Friday, both Spider-Man 2 and Super Mario Bros. Wonder release on the 20th of October on the same day. And then for me, 4 days later on the Tuesday, the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 is released on that Tuesday.
Yeah, everything at the same time.
And the 24th of October is City Skylines 2.
It's a bit. It's
also Sonic's 2 Superstars on 17th.
Yeah, and that as well. Yeah.
And then on the
Yeah,
6th of
7th
November comes The Invincible.
Bro, I just need a drink, like
Yeah.
literally. Bye.
And she's gone.
That's it.
That's too much to handle.
I will say that we have been nattering on about what games we've been playing for the last 50 minutes. So we need to kind of get onto the news. So otherwise we're not going to get a chance to get onto the topic. So, and she's back.
Yeah.
Is she back? She's back.
Hello.
I mean, since we've been talking about releases and about games we want to play and there's not enough time, maybe I could start with Gamescom.
Go on. Make it quick.
Yes, I'll try to make it quick because we've had last week and it's still ongoing. We've had Gamescom, which is the biggest gaming event in Europe in Cologne, Germany, and when on 22nd we've been watching the opening night live, hosted by Jeff Keighley, who is now I think the face of gaming in general. One improvement that immediately we've noticed: there were women on stage. There were women being interviewed about games. There was.
I will say,
shown that they exist in video game industry.
Kudos that they actually listened. I will say.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Like absolutely. Like as much as we joke and tease, like bravo for actually like fucking this. Just being like, yeah, I didn't even get just one. And the thing is, he didn't even just get one or two women. He got like 3 or 4, I think, which is
yeah, there were quite a few, and mostly, very involved, like parts of the dev team or team leads or people involved. And that was really great to hear of all those people. And we've got some, like we've been shown the final video for Starfield that's being released on the 1st of September. It literally, as Kennedy says, in 41 hours. We've had the 7 guest VR that I'm very excited for.
And I knew it was 7 guest VR.
Yeah.
I was I got
yes,
it.
and Shadow
As
Code
soon as I saw the test board, I was like, that's 7
yeah,
guest
and that's 19th of October. So another it's like if we ever play the drinking game, that take a shot whenever there's a game that you want to play and is released this year, we would have all died of alcohol intoxication. Well, maybe except for me, but that's because I'm Slavic. But yes, there was way too many games. There was an announcement of a game that a lot of people will be excited for, Little Nightmares 3 for 2024. There was an announcement there was another video of a game that I was very hyped for, Black Myth Wukong, which is a Souls-like based on Journey to the West, which is a great piece of Chinese literature that also inspired a little-known show called Dragon Ball. There's been Tekken 8, more videos, more intros for January 2024. So
more insanity.
Yes, speaking of, there's Piccolo.
Come on, turn around. There
there he is.
A friend of mine at work was in Florida for 2 weeks, and she brought me that.
Yeah. We've seen we've seen a video that shows more of Mortal Kombat 1 that I'm very hyped for. That's gonna also be soon, because it's also on 19th of September, so pretty quickly out. We've seen more videos of Nightingale. That's gonna be really awesome. That we will all try to. Yes, we'll try to play on February 2024.
We'll see.
We've seen Immortals of Avium, more videos, which is a really interesting game because it's like FPS with magic, with a lot of magic, and that's being released. It's been released a week ago. It's been released on the day of the opening for Gamescom. So that might be interesting. There's been way too much Hoyoverse shit, so we can just skip that part.
Yeah, fuck those guys. They don't even pay. They don't even pay their voice actors.
Yeah. About Sonic Superstars and Sonic Frontiers, we've already been talking. But there's also been more videos of David Carr's new game that we might be interested in because it happens under the sea, under the waves, and it's released today.
Yes.
I've already received an email that Under the Waves is out.
Yeah.
Prepare the money.
Get in line with everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a game that I really want to know what it's about, but we've only gotten a very weird teaser. It's called Thank Goodness You're Here. If you remember that weird animated craziness.
Where I thought I'd taken drugs for some reason.
Yeah.
We all thought we'd taken some weird substance because it was just crazy.
Was that the spurt where we were supposed to take the weed? I guess so.
Yes. That was the part, like there was a eat your edibles now banner underneath. And we've also seen the Future Games Show, which another thing that the organizers took the comments to heart, because last time it was a bit cringy with Laura Bailey and Yuri Lowenthal. It wasn't great. They did not have any chemistry.
Great people. They didn't have chemistry with each other.
Yeah. It was very weird. Yeah, and their jokes were really badly written too. So this year we got Erika Ishii and Troy Baker, and I have in my notes in bold letters, Erika Ishii and Troy Baker are bisexual dream, and yes, they were. And also, they absolutely they had chemistry. They had great jokes. The jokes were funny. They really amazingly bounced.
They really nailed it. I think. Great.
Yeah, they nailed it.
Really good. Yeah. Like remember, they did the same sort of VR spot in both things, and where it was like really painful and cringy before with Laura Bailey and the other guy. Like it was much better this time, just because the two were bouncing off each other and they were just gremlins. They were just gremlins, and it was great.
And some of the things were purposefully made cringy so that they could be funny, because of like they would groan at them like, oh god.
Yeah.
It's also they were authentic.
Good.
Yes.
They weren't they were just nerds and not presenters.
Yeah, they were clones of Troy Baker. It was hilarious at one point. It's like, no, stop.
Copy Troy. Yeah, but they also showed a lot of. This is another thing that people learned. Show a lot of trailers, as little talking as you can, and people will be happy. So there were trailers upon trailers. There was a game that would be very interesting, especially for Lemming, a Soul Slinger Envoy of Death, where you're fighting demons.
Oh yeah,
something a bit between Doom Eternal and Painkiller. If you remember,
you're a cowboy and you slay demons.
You're a cowboy and you murder demons. Was Parcel Core, which is a very interesting game of parkouring around the city on a bike and delivering packages. Sounds great and hilarious. And the trailer was also hilarious.
Yes.
There was Gangs of Sherwood, which is really interesting co-op shooter and sort of diesel punk reimagining of Robin Hood.
That looked really cool, actually.
Yeah, that looked awesome.
And Friar Tuck got a great big fucking hammer.
Yeah. We've seen a police procedural shooter game with detective mode about a very, very obscure character called RoboCop. There was a RoboCop.
So cool.
The RoboCop game looks so good.
It looked amazing. It was absolutely brilliant.
I really hope they lean into like the cap. I really hope they do.
Yeah, I hope they do. I think it will be very faithful to the original RoboCop, because even the likeness of Peter Weller is being used in the game.
I've read like a preview of IGN saying you feel like a boss going into a room of mooks, as RoboCop.
I hope there is a separate button to say "freeze, scumbag."
Yes, I hope so.
Until
you're alive, you're coming with me.
Until the fucking bulldog fucking mech turns up and
yeah.
I hate those things. My mum is scared of them, and I don't blame her.
Which one? ED209?
Yeah,
or-
8209.
Yeah.
Except for that one weakness.
Yeah.
Stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen a very cutely animated game called Tavern Keeper, which is a tavern management sim in a Dungeons and Dragons or some other fantasy setting, which was really great. Then there was A Cake Salotl, which is like a Enter the Gungeon, but you're a cute axolotl.
And you breed other axolotls and maybe sacrifice them to the
Yeah.
demons?
I think it's called axolotl, isn't it?
Yeah, axolotl.
Yes, it's called A Cake Salotl.
Okay, so that's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Because you have an AK
AK
and you're axolotl. There's Hellskate, another game about traversing the places. This time it's like hell skating. This time it's like a Tony Hawk pro skating, but around hell, where you defeat enemies by doing all those
Mad tricks.
mad tricks on the pipes and all
I'm
that.
in.
Yeah. And it's gonna be really fun. It looks a bit like it resembles a bit of Saints Row 4, or whichever one was Get Out of Hell.
That's States Row 4, the simulation one. 3 was off the rails, but still grounded.
Yeah. So this one is definitely off the rails. Then we've seen Tiny Glade, which is a very interesting Zen experience. You use the tool to raise a cutesy medieval castle diorama.
Like dioramas, and it's very
Yeah.
cute. And there's a sheep.
It is. Yes, and there's a sheep, and you can model the sheep as well. You can make cutesy medieval sheep. I'm really glad that there are games like that. There's Townscaper that allows you to build a Italian seaside town, and now we will have Tiny Glade that lets you build a medieval castle.
Yeah.
We've
nice.
seen Europa that I think you and I, Shadow, have tried the demo of.
Yeah, it's really nice, but I find the controls very clunky. I don't like it.
Yeah, the controls have too much sliding. They're very slippery.
You're controlling a block of wood on skis on a patch of ice. Sometimes it feels like you're just like, and you're asking me to do some not precision platforming, but you are asking me to do platforming where I need to be precise with my jumping, and I just don't trust you.
I mean, I would say there are places where you're being tormented because you see a crystal to collect on the top of the building, and to get there you have to do some precision platforming, but you can't because you're a block of wood and ice.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's really cute and it has great narrator voice.
Yes.
And for people who can accept this control those control animations, it's gonna be a wonderful game.
Yes.
We've seen Deathground, which is a survival horror game that can be played solo or in co-op, and you run from dinosaurs.
Give us a new Dino Crisis game, for fuck's sake!
Yeah, this is unfortunately not that everyone was saying what you said, Lemming. It's like, give us Dino Crisis. This is not Dino Crisis, but it also seems that it's gonna be a great game. We've seen a game that is basically Project Winter 2, or what happens after Project Winter, what happens after you escape on the submarine, which is another social deduction game called Underlab.
You get locked in a lab and then experiments happen.
Apparently, it's an open social deduction game. Like apparently it's one of those weird things where it's like anyone can be like a deceiver. It's weird. It's weird how they describe it in the trailer, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, we've seen Aloft, which is a survival game where you gather things, build things, and you have a glider and you fly between floating islands.
Or you could pilot your floating island, because that's cool.
Yeah.
It's not got very much to it at the moment.
No,
I
at the
would
moment
recommend,
not.
I would recommend
Yeah.
waiting for it to
But
continue.
it already looks very nice. They just have to polish the mechanics. And we've seen Hexen Hunters, which is a tactical game, something up my alley, and it's about hunting witches and monsters, and it's very very Darkest Dungeony, but instead of being a roguelite, it's more of a 3D environment where you have real-time exploring and turn-based combat. And also, as at the end of the list that I've prepared, a game called It's a Wrap.
Typical.
Which
that
I
looks
played
interesting.
the demo.
I do like.
I've played the demo and I loved it. It's a game. It's a puzzle game where you are a camera operator at a set of a movie, and you are moving certain events on a timeline so that the main character does something or something happens in the correct way in the scene. And it's really fun, and I'm really excited for that one.
Looking at the entry for it on Steam, it does release in 24 hours, by the way. It is just video editing 101. It really is.
I take a shot.
One more game for Gamescom that hasn't been mentioned that was at Gamescom. Battlestate Games, the creators of Escape from Tarkov, managed to exit Russia to go to Gamescom.
Oh, neat.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
They escaped.
They are a St. Petersburg, I believe it's St. Petersburg-based company. They were allowed to go to Gamescom to show off Escape from Tarkov Arena, which is a separate game which ties into Escape from Tarkov. So if you have the collector's edition of Escape from Tarkov, you already have Arena when it releases. So I will already have my copy of Arena because I have AOD edition.
Good.
But they had a full enclosure. They had a full press event and everything. They had people in playing games of Arena at the state that they've got it. They had a guy in a tricked out bus at Gamescom giving out free tattoos.
Okay.
It's just like doing the thing. And they had the CEO and creator of Escape from Tarkov, Nikita Boyanov, at Gamescom, taking questions, meeting the people, and because he started off as a music writer, he also was doing the DJing at the booth on occasion, which was
nice,
bloody funny.
Talk about doing double duty.
Yeah, they were on the official Gamescom stream. They had their own streams going because they've got their own channel, and yeah, it was just showing off Arena, and that looks interesting because it's just a first-person shooter based in the Escape from Tarkov world. So there's none of the looting, there's none of the having to survive aspect. It's just go into a match and shoot, but using all of the Escape from Tarkov game mechanics, which makes it impressive because those mechanics are something else. Like the accuracy of the shooting, everything. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. And the fact is, if you have both games, the XP is cross-compatible. So by playing Arena, you will get Escape from Tarkov XP, and by playing Escape from Tarkov, your Arena character will level up.
I mean, that's brilliant because that also helps against gaming fatigue.
Yeah,
you're tired of Tarkov, you can jump into the arena.
I'm sick of getting murdered in Tarkov and losing my stuff. I'll just play Arena for a bit and enjoy the PvP without getting absolutely, wrecked for it.
Speaking, do you want to talk about your news topic very quickly in X-Slamming?
On the subject of survival, first-person survival games, updates from the Nexon versus Iron Mace games this month. One of the crucial lawsuits that Nexon have taken Iron Mace to court with has ended. They are currently facing 2 lawsuits, one in the United States, one in their home of South Korea, and it's basically over copyrights. Nexon is claiming that Iron Mace games stole industrial secrets and property to make their game, since most of iMace Games were previous employees of Nexon making games, where they learned that Nexon had basically shit canned and dropped an idea. They took that idea to their own company that they had formed, Iron Mace Games, and ran with it. And when that game became hugely successful via the playtest on Steam, that game being Dark and Darker, basically Escape from Tarkov in a dungeon. That's the best way. You've got basic Dungeons and Dragons style classes, rogues, wizards, warriors, etc. And they took that idea and ran with it. It became hugely successful to the point where Nexon noticed and sued them. They are under copyrights. They are being sued for copyright infringement and various other things in South Korea. And they also opened a copyright lawsuit in the United States, which is what kept the game off of Steam, because that copyright is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Steam refused, they were forced to take the game off of Steam, and then Steam has refused to put the game back on the platform.
Yeah. Quick addition. Steam will not allow any game on their storefront that's currently under dispute, regardless.
Yeah. So it's not going back on the store just yet. But the fact is, the lawsuit in the United States has been dismissed without prejudice, which means it can come up again if anything changes. If new evidence comes up, it can come back, but it has been dismissed without prejudice on the grounds of forum non-convenience. Basically, the entire reason for the lawsuit being in the United States was completely false, and it has been thrown out as a result. The Nexon were basically claiming that because they do business in the United States, people buy the game, playing the game on Steam, and that the CEO of Battle Mace was a United States resident. He's not. He went there as a child and never went back. That they should therefore have this court case in the United States. It has been revealed to have been a very thinly veiled attempt to keep the game off of Steam. That's it. So with the evidence they've put forward to this point, it's been dismissed.
Good.
So that it's not a complete victory. They have to pay their own lawyer fees. They have to pay their own legal fees. They're not getting that money back, but it's gone. They only have to concentrate on the South Korean lawsuit now, which is going to be a big weight off of their shoulders, especially now that Dark and Darker has actually released, for a monetary amount, they are selling Dark and Darker on their own website and a third-party store, and are actually getting money towards their legal fight. So,
Good.
Fingers crossed to them.
Yeah.
Next on to Shadow. You're shouting at Bioware, I believe.
Yeah, well, it's
Let's get angry.
less at Bioware themselves and more the corporate entity that hold them. So, on the 23rd of August, 2023, during Gamescom, where you would expect that they would come out and with an announcement about Dragon Age Dreadwolf, wherever the fuck that is at the moment, but instead they shared an update. They shared an update when where they said they were getting rid of 50 roles at BioWare. 50 people will now no longer have jobs. Some of these people were thankfully reabsorbed into EA, and they have jobs elsewhere. However, the problem, there's it's always a terrible shame and a problem whenever people are fired from their jobs, especially in the games industry. It's a volatile place. People lose their jobs a lot, and it can be nasty. See, part of the problem of these layoffs is these weren't just people. Like it's bad, no matter who you lose from BioWare. The main problem with these layoffs are that they took some very senior members of staff out. One of which is Mary Kirby. Now the name might mean not very much to you guys unless you know BioWare. See, Mary Kirby has been on staff at BioWare, especially Dragon Age, since its inception. She was the main driving force in creating Varric Tethras, the dwarf, one with the hairy chest that everybody likes. She was the main designer of the chant of light, the chantry. Like, put it this way, she is a lot of what made Dragon Age kind of thing, and now she's gone. They've taken her out. Taking her out. That sounds like they assassinated her, but they didn't. They also took another person who'd been at the studio for about 13 years.
But if I may, by taking her out, they might have assassinated something else.
Yeah, the thing I'm sorry. I wish I'd kept some names on me. I'm going straight off memory here. But they took a lot of senior staff out, which is not great, especially when these senior staff have been with BioWare for a long period of time, from like the germination of Dragon Age, and that does put their current developments under question, especially Dragon Age Dreadwolf, which has again been delayed to 2024, summer 2024. However, people like myself are now starting to doubt if it's ever going to come out, because they've already had to overhaul it once, perhaps twice, I think I've heard. And there's also apparently another Mass Effect, like Mass Effect 4 in the backside. We don't know about Mass Effect 4. That's still very vague, but I'm worrying about that too. You see, what these layoffs signal to me, especially because BioWare's not had a good time. BioWare has not had a good time. Anthem was its reckoning, basically, and it didn't go that well, kind of thing. And I think these layoffs, especially of senior personnel, I think this is the beginning of the end. I think we're starting to see BioWare enter its death spasms now.
Yeah,
And
it does seem like.
yeah, and I think if Dragon Age Dreadwolf comes out, and that's a big if, because they've been pussyfooting around that game for so long now. All we've ever seen is just like, yeah, it's still around. It's still around. Here's another picture of Solus. Here's another picture of Solus. You like Solus, right? No, I fucking hated him in Inquisition. Have you actually got me some gameplay? I haven't seen anything of that. That's all we've ever seen is just promotional art and stuff like that. If we ever see that come out, it's going to be the make or break game for the studio, because if that game does not live up to expectations, if that game does not make its money back, BioWare's done. BioWare is finished now. I'm pretty damn sure, because they've been struggling. I mean, we've seen with Anthem, we've seen with the exposés from Jason Schreier about their working conditions, and one thing David Gaider of BioWare fame did say several years back, actually. He left after Inquisition, if my memory serves, and I think he either left after Inquisition, during Anthem, and he was very quiet about BioWare for quite some time. And then before Anthem came out, and before Jason Schreier's article, he suddenly came out and he did a little tweet thread and talked about his experiences, or it might have been, I can't really remember, but I do remember him saying that there is a gulf within the company of the old guard, who are very wedded to what BioWare was, the very we make role playing games with story kind of thing. And then the second, more new guard, who are resentful of the writers, who don't like them. And I think
resentful.
What do they like then? Because
well, you could see this happen in Anthem, couldn't you? Where you had splinters of writing trying to be forced in there, but then you've got other people going, well, we need something that looks like Destiny. Just don't say it's fucking Destiny. If you say it's Destiny, we'll kick you in the shins, kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
but this is exactly why Anthem was shit.
yeah, exactly. Because BioWare is known for story
Yeah.
writing. That's what they were based in. They were the vanguard. They were literally that's the whole ironic thing. Baldur's Gate 3, BioWare wrote and created Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 kind of thing. And to see BioWare gutted while Baldur's Gate 3 is ascendant, like, fucking what?
BioWare literally single-handedly created the sort of late 20, early 21st century style of CRPGs with Baldur's Gate, with Neverwinter Nights, with Planescape Torment, with
that's why we got so much Eurojank. Like that it was thanks to I say that as an affectionate term because like we needed that sort of stuff. But the thing that gets me is that there is a schism I go back to his words because I think this is definitely what's happening right now. Is there's a schism between the old guard and the new guard. The new guard, for some bizarre reason, doesn't think that Bioware should be. I guess they're filtering from other EA companies, and they're just thinking, "Oh, you don't need story. You just need mechanics." And we've just completely forgotten that what Bioware was initially founded on, and what people are expecting from the studio, and I think they're firing the old guard.
That sounds like a studio that does not have a clear direction of what they of intent.
We saw that. We saw that with Anthem, didn't we? Nobody knew what they were doing.
That confuses me very much because this new guard, they know that this is BioWare, this is a company that does not know how to do anything else, because between Shattered Steel in like 95, 96 and Anthem in 2018, they were doing for 20 plus years, they were doing nothing but RPGs. They know how to do that.
Yeah, this whole thing bothers me because it's like having a restaurant. The restaurant is known. It's known for its fish and chips, for example. It's known for its fish and chips, and then a new chef comes in and says, "Well, the place is known for fish and chips, but we want to serve burgers here. We want to serve burgers, but we're not known for burgers. We're known for fish and chips. Yeah, but burgers. You know, it's like that's
but
not."
Burgers make money though. It's just like
I have a horrifying suspicion.
Go on.
I have a horrifying suspicion that all this movement and all of these layoffs and people getting moved around is that EA are doing the EA thing where they know exactly what's happening. They're going to shift the IPs around, shift all the people that they want in different areas around, and then just bin BioWare.
That's
going to happen.
That's what they do.
This is the slow cannibalization of BioWare.
They're shifting their good staff members to different parts of EA, and everyone else is just going to be in BioWare, building their, working hard on whatever BioWare is currently working on until EA goes, that's it, cut off there. You're all done. This IP, as it's being made now, gets shipped on to somebody else, and then that'll get released in the next year or two.
Yeah, I think this is the beginning. I think this is the beginning of their death spasms, really, because
BioWare's going to get broken up within 6 months.
You wouldn't see senior writers like Mary Kirby getting tossed aside if EA just didn't give a shit anymore, because they are costing a lot. So EA's literally just cost cutting at the moment. The thing is, like, I've seen people on Tumblr, like, I don't want to call them bootlickers, they're not bootlickers, but I have seen them sort of going like, oh, everybody's saying that Dreadwolf's going to be shit, but the writers probably have finished, it's probably an alpha stage, and writers are not going to be needed at this point. And I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe, and they're going to buy the game anyway, and I'm just like, well, suit yourself, but if you want to buy crap, then that's fine. But the thing is,
well, you keep your writers around to edit what it needs to be edited.
But the thing is, think of it as you are the devs working on Dreadwolf right now, right? And you see senior members of staff like fired, but you're not. You managed to escape the layoffs. but some senior members of staff, like stalwart pillars of that development team, have gone. They're just gone. People who have been there since you started, like 10-year veterans, they've seen some shit, kind of thing,
Yeah.
and they're gone. Do you think that your
That's
morale?
a giant
Do you
demotivator.
think your morale is up to working on this game? You're not going to be.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to be doing the best, knowing that there's
Yeah.
potentially a gun pointed at the back of your head?
Yeah,
Mm.
they're not going to be hyped to continue on that game.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dreadwolf has already been revamped because EA did a song, and I can't remember when it was, but I remember EA doing a song and dance of like, we saw how well I think it was Jedi Fallen Order did, so we realised that people actually want single player games, so we completely revamped like Dragon Age Dreadwolf to be a single player game. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
what? You saw time and time again that people want single player games, and you're just like, it's just like, oh, wow, what a revelation! Yeah, who the fuck played the multiplayer for Dragon Age Inquisition? I can tell you, fuck
No one did.
nobody.
That's
Yeah,
because
also-
EA. It's because
also, who
EA
the
are
fuck-
full of bunch of idiots who don't know how to make
Yeah.
a game, but know how to
Who-
be
yeah,
corporate
well,
arseholes.
Who
At
played
the-
the multiplayer
at-
to Mass
at-
Effect
yeah.
3? Me and my friend. That's it.
Yeah, only a
I
couple
mean,
people played the multiplayer for Mass Effect
yeah.
3, and I think
Well.
that was actually a decent one.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
fun.
People,
But-
people who wanted the achievements, because there's no other reason why play a tactile multiplayer. Also, it really confuses me how anyone thought to start building Dreadwolf as a multiplayer game. Because if they have revamped it at some point, that means they started from multiplayer.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah, it's
Well-
just it's EA doing typical corporate shenanigans of going, okay, this company that we own isn't doing so hot right now. How do we fix it? Well, look at the most expensive people in it, the people who make them the most money. They're all too expensive. Bin them.
What were you gonna say, Al?
What now?
Well, literally just that game made me thinking. When's the last time you guys saw a single player game that had a tactile multiplayer mode?
All
Not
I
for
can
a
think
very
of
long
is
time.
Inquisition right now, but
Yeah.
it has been a long time. Yeah.
And
It's almost like the
Inquisition was released 9 years ago.
It's almost like the industry has realized, wow, it's like multiplayer games and single player games attract different audiences. You
It's
know?
almost like nobody cares. You know?
Well, I do think there is somewhat of a
yeah.
shame to that because there are
Is
some.
that yeah.
But-
No, I think I'm gonna say what you were planning to say.
Well, I think it's a shame because there are some games that I think really benefit that. Like I actually really enjoyed the Uncharted multiplayer because it's different than your standard. It's different from playing Call of Duty. It's third person. You've got the whole grappling aspect and the parkour and such. But yeah, I just think that it's good in the long run. But yeah, that is it. Yes, Shadow?
I just remembered Mankind Divided had a
Yeah.
tactile multiplayer, didn't it?
Mankind Divided did
But
horrible.
Mankind Divided is also it's well, not very old game, but it's
Well, it
like
was never finished.
8-year-old game, 8-year-old game.
It's younger than Inquisition was, though.
Yeah, but
Mm.
not much.
I mean,
Yeah.
the biggest example when it comes to a tactile multiplayer being egregious was, for me, Spec Ops The Line.
Yes.
I don't know if any of you ever played Spec Ops The Line.
Yes.
I know of
That,
it.
yeah, that is a game entirely about the horrors of war
Yeah.
and
So-
how combat at that sort of level can deeply mentally affect people. It is a horror story set through an action combat game.
Yeah.
And then the parent, the parent publisher demanded everything needs to have a tactile multiplayer. So this
yeah,
emotional action, this horrifying combat game showing you the horrors of war suddenly became a multiplayer shooter where you don't have to think about anything and just
Yeah.
shoot things.
and now have fun with war with your
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah, God of War Ascension had a multiplayer. It's like, what? God of War
Why?
multiplayer?
How does
Why?
that work?
Yeah, why? It's
Wasn't Ascension on PSP?
no, that was it was a PS3 game. But no, yeah. moving on, because we have to move on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I've got one more news article, which I'm going to make it extremely quick because we are way over the time we need to get into the news topic. And that is just over a week ago, on the 21st of August, the gaming world was shocked at the sudden announcement by Nintendo that Charles Martinet will be stepping back from voicing Mario in future games and will be basically taking a role of an ambassador for the role of Mario. I'm gonna say the retirement of Charles Martinet, which the internet has generally been fairly okay with. There's been a few people who have been like, "Wow, this sounds like Nintendo have forced him to." It's like, well, look, he's 67 years old. He's at retirement age. He can shoot. Like, he's also chosen to be about. I don't. This doesn't seem like something where Nintendo said, "No, unfortunately, Charles, we want to go with someone else." It seems like they said, "Hey, Charles, we got Wonder coming up. You want to voice it?" And he's been like, "Well, actually, I was thinking about maybe stepping back from the role. It's about time." And I think him and Nintendo have settled things amicably. It sounds like they've done things amicably. I think this is to people saying that it's too soon. This was inevitable. This was going to happen at some point. The only question was when.
I mean, we've already seen like lots of voice actors like sadly leaving us of recent.
Yeah,
So
like,
it would have been on Nintendo's mind, and it also gives context to why Matinee wasn't the main voice role in the movie.
Well, I don't think the movie. I think the movie's a separate thing entirely. But
I personally think that Matinee probably put his voice in to say I don't want to do the main role.
Yeah, that could be a bit of column A, a bit of column B.
Yeah.
Martinet is in the movie, but instead of speaking for most of the movie, he has like maybe 10 lines.
Yeah, he's backtrack.
Yeah, I think that's more a case of marketability and things. But when it comes to the games, it was always going to be Martin or someone else. We don't know who's replacing him. To be frank, I'm not shocked that we don't know his replacement because the internet needed. Because if we had the news of Charles retiring and who his replacement is, I would hate to be that replacement because they are going to get dogpiled on by a lot of people thinking that the retirement is his fault.
Within a week.
Yeah, they would be off of Twitter within a week. Yeah. So I think it's best to kind of sit back, let people come to terms with Martinet leaving, and then introduce a new person. We might even, I mean, because which brings the question, do you guys think there will be another Martinet, or will it be like Sonic where the role just kind of jumps from person to person to person to person?
I think they would prefer to have another Martinet because look at what. Sorry, Shadow, you wanted to.
No, you.
Okay, I wanted to say it will be like another Martinet because look what is Charles Martinet doing now. He is not retiring completely to sip mimosas on the beach. He is going to travel the world. He's going to be a Mario ambassador. He's going to be showing up at various conventions, doing his woohoo and giving interviews and everything. Because he's still a face of Mario, and Nintendo likes, and I think a lot of corporations in Japan like this stability and recognizability. And when they choose another actor for Mario, they would try to have someone who can also carry Mario, become recognizable, become the next worthy successor to Charles Martinet for the next 30 years.
Also,
I think this would make more sense for them.
Yeah, Shadow?
Also, Charles Martinet is just a nice dude.
Yes, he's a nice
dude. I follow him on Twitter, and it's just a ray of sunshine.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I did want to say the guy they have for Mario in the trailer for Super Mario Bros. Wonder is a remarkably good sound alike.
Yeah, he doesn't sound exact because people were able to pick out that that's not Martinet, but it's impressive, very impressive. Yeah,
close. I personally do wonder if because Martinet was unique in being able to do Mario, Luigi, Wario, Waluigi, like all in one go kind of thing.
Yeah, and occasionally Donkey Kong.
And occasionally Donkey Kong. But I wonder if they're going to split the role in 4 or just have one for all. Like, that is I'm interested to see how they work for that. I mean, if one role could do all four, they're great. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they split the role up.
Yeah, if the voice actor that they have for Wanda is as versatile as Martinet, they might do all of those voices again, because that's like another continuation of what Martinet was doing, where he was doing Mario and Luigi and Wario and Waluigi, and that was his thing. So maybe the other person, because it might be that the other person was selected not just as a voice of Mario, but maybe as a literally successor to Martinet.
Coming close. I actually think there's another good reason why they did this. Because Nintendo are cheap. They only need to pay one voice actor. Okay.
I mean,
So
Yes.
I mean,
that's why I was looking around. I was checking no one from Nintendo was around.
I mean, every opportunity is good to dunk on Nintendo, but I would give them some slack here.
yeah, I'm trying, and I'm trying to give them some goodwill, please.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't see
we
them
want to
finding
give them
Lemming.
well,
I don't see them finding a permanent replacement for Charles Martinet. I see for the next 20 years, every Mario game that comes out, they'll have a different person voicing him, because they're just not going to find somebody to permanently replace him.
Interesting.
I mean, they might be able to, because it might be like with Kevin Conroy, where when Kevin Conroy started to not be able to voice Batman, like a young Batman, he was always in a way he was always sounding like an older Batman. They've been casting Batman everywhere as a different actor. So it might be like also like Lemming said, because Kevin Conroy is another legend that cannot be replaced easily.
Counterpoint. To Harley Quinn, when Arlene Sorkin retired, and she retired before she passed away earlier this week, she retired the role of Harley Quinn, and Tara Strong took over for a long time. It's only in the only exception to that is in the most recent Harley Quinn series, where she's played by the actress who played Penny in the Big Bang Theory.
I would need to check whether one of the games Rocksteady's doesn't have not Tara Strong, but someone else. But yeah,
the first one does. Arlene Sorkin does reprise her role in Asylum. That's the game. That's the game when she realized, I kind of need to step back from this now.
But on the other hand, Tara Strong was already strong voice actress back then when
Tara Strong is so good.
Yes.
Yeah, she is good, and she does so much things. She's she's so versatile with her voice. But yeah, that's the thing. A legend was replaced by another legend.
True.
That doesn't happen often, though.
That is true. I think that the way I would say it is, whoever's going to take over the role, I actually see it as saying that this person is going to be someone who Nintendo meticulously look into, because they are going to be very careful who they replace.
Yeah.
So they're going to be very careful to that person. I feel like you've got an opportunity here. You've got a career for the rest of your life if you're young.
Yeah.
Just don't say anything stupid online. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking that it was so easy when Charles Martinet was auditioning. It was so easy to find someone for it, because it was basically
there was nothing.
There was no branding for Mario. Now it's one of the biggest franchises, multi-million franchise, and you have to be chosen to be a face and a voice of that. That's horribly difficult.
Well,
it's also a lot of pressure.
Is a lot of pressure, which I can expect. I am going to call an audible. We have to move on to our topic for tonight, because otherwise we're not going to get any time to discuss it as we go into the last half an hour of the show. Because Lemming's going to get to bed.
Can I quickly just interject with one final piece of news?
Sure.
Can Wargaming, can Gaijin Entertainment please stop people leaking classified information on your fucking forums for 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
For 5 minutes.
The entire 730-page document of the Eurofighter Typhoon was leaked on War Thunder's forums earlier.
Oh well.
Like, bro, bruh, you do this for those, but why can't you just leak like Russian stuff?
This
Come
is the
on.
6th time. 6 classified documents have been leaked on their forums.
At least they rotate the games. They do World of Tanks,
Yeah.
then they do War Thunder, then they do World of Star.
Yeah, it was War Thunder. It's like, oh
Always
god,
War
why?
Thunder.
Always
Okay.
War Thunder. Anyway, topic.
Yeah, topic. So this topic was recommended to us by a friend of the show, Laura Petal, who is regularly on Silly Voices, as well as part of our friend group. The topic idea is quote, when a game stops being a game, and they propose this. Realizing the title could be a bit broad spectrum, I'm speaking specifically about the state of competition in games today, and how in some people's eyes the idea of being the best at something in a game means more than the idea of simply playing it. I reckon some of we play games with competition elements in them. Maybe we follow a competitive community in like eSport League or speedrunning or anything like that. So several questions to look into tonight, which is considering how there's always been a foundation of competitiveness in gaming, all the way back to the arcade, where you had fastest times, high scores, and such with Pac-Man and original games like that. I mean, does anyone have any kind of experience in that kind of side of things?
I laddered in StarCraft extremely briefly.
I do have an experience in watching people compete.
Yes.
Even back at the arcades, because yes, indeed, it does start at the arcades, not just on the level that you have in the King of Kong or other, in international level of competing to like beat Pac-Man as quickly as possible or get the high score. But even in the local arcade parlors, well, you'll have regular scrubs like myself or my brother or our friends who would be various levels of okay at games, and we would like get like 5 minutes, maybe sometimes 10 minutes into the game before the game beats us. And there would be guys approaching people like, give me a local equivalent of £1 for a token and I'll beat this game for you. And they did, like, they took the game and they were able to, even with a incredibly high difficulty levels as the arcade games had, to mulch all the money from people. They would beat the entire game at this one credit.
Yeah.
So people doing this professionally for money, not much money, but still for money.
There's an entire thing about that, because in our, because I would say over here in Europe, I'm not sure about mainly Europe, but also at least in the UK, arcade culture, the style which it was in the US, just doesn't exist over here.
No.
You didn't have that.
50% of all British arcades are coin machines.
Coin machines, yeah.
Yeah, there's been like arcade machines mostly in pubs and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but we didn't have the density that the US did.
Yeah,
Whereas,
it's a shame.
yeah, whereas in the 80s in the US, you had actual places just full of arcade machines, which you'd go in, get some, spend like $5, and then just spend all day gaming. Go on.
We did have like the ZX Spectrum though, so we did spend more. So I think with the UK it was less arcade culture and more programming.
Going at home and programming, yeah.
Yeah, that's why for quite some time in the early days, British programmers were highly prized because they learned to program early, and the equipment we had necessitated your code to be efficient and short and clean.
But even those games had scores.
Exactly.
Yeah. All games back, as far back as Pong, the first video with the supposed first video game, we learned about that in our QI episode. Had scores because it was based upon actual competition, which was there, and of course, video games as a new concept, what you're going to base it on? You base it on something familiar, which is sports and competitions, and the way you determine that as a winner, and how you do that scores, and then you started getting into games. Go on, yes, Slash, I know.
Sorry, I was just saying bowling.
Yeah, bowling, exactly. And then, of course, you had, which bowling's the prime example, because that's the point where you're not actively competing directly, like you're not doing something to affect the opponent. You're fighting the actual game, but you're getting a better score than your opponent. That's
Fighting my shitty
yeah.
fucking accuracy. That's what I'm doing.
That's what I'm doing. But yeah, it's interesting how we then transitioned to the home consoles, and we went through that strange era where home consoles had scores, but they weren't really meaningful. In very, they were there, but they weren't really. Didn't do it. Go on.
Yeah, in a way, it was kind of still because a lot of those console games, they had also their arcade ports, or maybe they were arcade games that had console ports.
Yeah, it was a very difficult transition period between realizing that games were there to be played and didn't have to have a coin plugged into them every single time.
Yes, because that's of course where the live system came from. That was a holdover from the arcade days, really.
Yeah.
Which is we've shaken. We shook the score system faster than we did the live system, because even by the NES era, sorry, the NES, the Super Nintendo era, most games started to kind of. You still had scores, but they were starting to become less and less so. To the point where I can't recall a lot of games in the PS1 era or the N64 era that had scores in them. Mario 64, I think, did.
Oh no, that was a different system. I forgot the Dreamcast existed. Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Sega. I'm sorry, I forgot Sega actually made consoles.
That's fine. You and Sega also forgot about the Dreamcast.
You were in a very. Sorry.
You forget the first console with an internet connection. How dare you?
But I can say you are in a very, very large company of people who forgot the Dreamcast exists.
My first console was a GameCube. I am the baby of this podcast.
I have a Dreamcast.
I'm still in my 20s, damn it.
But the GameCube was one of the consoles that killed the Dreamcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it was better.
Yeah. But no, they did show the seeds of the competition. Of course, you then get into like the modern day stuff, like with Billy Mitchell, the supposed king of gaming.
Don't.
I'm just saying, the supposed king of gaming, and who has allegedly cheated. Allegedly, I'm not saying he did cheat. He's allegedly cheated. It's not even, I can say he allegedly cheated because it's allegedly. That's fact. Allegedly, he's. Oh Jesus Christ! If you're out there, Billy, you fucking suck if you sue us. But yeah, like he allegedly cheated. To be fair, if he did, that sucks. If he didn't, then he's the king of gaming. Whoop-de-doo. It's the thing is he made a career off being the best at Donkey Kong. If we set aside all the controversy that he set a career based on the fact that he was the guy who set that record at, and that's when you get into like the record keeping side of things where people set records and that was their thing that they basically set. Did anyone ever have a friend who was like they're top of the leaderboard in whatever?
I have a friend called Connor who is top of the leaderboard in Ultra Kill.
Yeah, I could see that.
I have many friends who are high at the top of the leaderboards, especially the Mario Kart leaderboards. I found my trans friend Laura Petal is very good at the kart games. And Lewis Walker, who is not trans but also very good at karting games. And then there's somebody here amongst us who is very mean to me at Mario Kart and bullies me a lot. I love him lots, but Jesus fucking Christ, man.
I do have a small history in competitive gaming.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do competitive tabletop gaming. I went to a number of tournaments with my Warhammer armies. Including one very fun weekend in Leeds with friends. And I've also taken part in a number of card game tournaments. So
fair.
Nothing really video game related. I have taken part.
It's still gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And modern gaming then went on to the LAN parties and because your LAN parties used to be how you connect games up. I once played Quake as a LAN party. That was fun.
Ooh,
But
nice.
that was more just for the idea of playing it. I remember it was in the technical room of my high school. That was fun.
Did you have somebody duct taped to the ceiling?
No.
Then it wasn't a true LAN party.
All right. Then of course you got games coming out with modern in the PS3 and Xbox 360 era. You started to get leaderboards online. You started to get achievements, which people could also compete against. You know, with especially with PlayStation, where you got the trophy system and you got like platinums, and it's always about how many platinums have you got and things like that. In a, like a
I
competitive
used to be
element.
very proud of my gamer score on Xbox.
Yeah, game scores exactly.
Yeah.
And then of course that led to the esports industry, where you have people literally competing. I can see Shadow's eyes rolling.
I'm not rolling. I'm just centering myself. It's fine.
Yeah. Which, you know, people actually competing and playing these games for an actual career in sport. Power to them. Nothing I could do, and that's not my thing. I personally still enjoy games as their games. Let's all kind of feed our demons here. We've all been in a competitive scenario. We've all had competitive situations. I try not to be competitive because I'm just not gonna. I just know there's someone better out there than me, and I just know that if I try and make it too much about the competition, that actually stops the fun. It stops the fun for me, and
Yeah.
it's very difficult to turn that off sometimes. But that's that's what I do, because I try and focus on the fun of the game. And some will say that it's about trying, it's not winning. And let's face it, I've like you, Lemming, I've played
Winning
many
is nice.
winning is nice. I played many an X-Wing game, and the games where I have a game and it feels like I did very, very well and I did the best I could, and it was a very level game. I lost, but I had a great experience. That is a wonderful game. It completely fucking sucks if you get tabled by someone. When I say that, you basically get all your stuff defeated and you get nothing for that. You get nothing. You at the end of it, you say, "Oh look, I've got 100 points, and you've got oh look at that, you've got 0." That is the time when it becomes non-fun.
Yeah, it's like stomps either way. If I'm the stomper or if I'm getting stomped, it's just not fun.
Yeah.
Which is one of the main reasons why, when it comes to tabletop gaming, I can't stand cheese or beard lists.
Yes.
Beard lists?
Yeah, the term beardy is tabletop lingo for, like, you are trying to be a dwarven player. You are trying to be the very impossible to beat tough person.
Oh, kind of like tanking kind of thing.
Yeah, but beardy lists are generally like the people will take last year's winning tournament list and just outright copy it.
Net listing.
Oh,
yeah.
meta.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I personally think that I have no problem with the esports industry existing. I do think a lot of the players are up their own fucking ass a lot of the time. That's my personal opinion.
That's the same with sports players in general. That's just any sort of professional player of something.
Yeah,
can get up their own ass.
There's a reason why my wrestling character's heel is when he's in esports. It's because it's because that I see them as being at their own ass. Like there are plenty of good people in esports who aren't at their own ass, which is great.
Oh yeah,
but there's also a lot of it all go. It's I don't know. It's all give and take, things like that. And it's also like the fact that the prize pool is just ridiculous, like millions of dollars up for grabs, and it's just fucking obnoxious. I mean, I get that. I mean, I think that that football players are fucking overpaid. You know,
like, 100%.
Let alone gaming.
But the thing about football players is that they play for much longer than esport players. Esport players have basically, once they reach their 30s, they're done.
Yeah, they're done.
Their reaction time, like they've had carpal tunnel operations because because they
Yeah,
fucked their hands
they
up.
get
And then
terrorists.
yeah, and then their reaction times are no longer at peak, so they get ditched. So you get ditched at 30 when you have like 50 more years of your life to go, maybe 60. Like, bro, what are you gonna do for that kind of thing?
A good example of how I try to approach things is, and how competitors can be bad, is the first time I played Mario Golf with Laura Scuff and
Yeah.
Weird. I didn't have fun in that stream, at least initially. I didn't. Well, to be fair, the entire stream I didn't. It's because no matter how good I am, Laura is just better than I am, as well as
The game can fuck you.
and the RNG can fuck you up. But not just that, but also Wiz is better than I am, and Scar's better than I am. That's it. That is just it. I tried to get better. I just can't get better at that game. When I let go of the idea of like winning and just enjoy the experience with my friends, it became a very enjoyable experience. And it's, again, that's why I asked for it back, because the second time I play it, you can see that I approach it in an entirely different way, where I am just doing my best, and wherever the ball falls, the ball falls. And I think that I had a much better time with that, where I'm actually I'm actually enjoying myself, because it doesn't matter about. I'm not in it for the competition. I'm there to just have fun, and just hang out with my friends.
Yeah, I definitely have a similar. I have a similar sort of issue to yourself, El, and you've like this was most noticeable on Star Wars Squadron stream, because I have it where I basically I've internalized that I'm not the best player here. Like I've already got that, even though sometimes but I have a role that I think I am the best or good at. And when that role is threatened, or I'm not doing as well as I think I'm doing, I get incredibly nasty, incredibly salty, and incredibly competitive very, very quickly. And it does not go well, kind of thing. Like, if I
relate
see.
to that so hard.
Yeah, because if because I remember specifically in specifically in squadrons, if I was not getting a good enough kill count as equal to L's, or like close to his, I would not be doing my best. So I would get salty, I would get cross, I would beat myself up something fierce, and it's not a good person to play with when I'm like that. And it happened. I'll be honest, it happened on a recent Ghostbusters play where I'd not played the game for a while, and I was like, I am very good at this one thing. And then it turned out that the game's been rebalanced, everything's changed, I'd forgotten how everything worked, and I was bad at the thing I thought I was good at, and it did not go well.
Yeah, I find that as well. I went in that same, because I was there at the Ghostbusters stream. I went in there with just the attitude of like, I know the thing's been rebalanced. I know I'm not going to be good. It's not going to be as good as I was at it. I was going to go in and see how it goes. I've tried to be much more relaxed in that, and just enjoy the fact that I'm just having fun with my friends.
Yeah, it's difficult to unlearn that kind of I am good at this one thing, and if I'm not good at this one thing, I'm shit and everybody hates me, kind of thing.
Same thing. Go on.
I have a very similar situation when it comes to first-person shooters and the pizza party, for example. I love coming to the pizza party. I turn up to every single one because I like hanging out with my friends. But if it's a pizza party with a first-person shooter,
yeah,
like last one was Team Fortress 2. The shooter one that I keep installing then uninstalled. You know, the cowboy one.
Oh yeah, Fistful of
Frags.
Fistful of Frags. I'll turn up and be like, I'm decent at shooters. I've played all the Call of Duties. I did well at them. I play Escape from Tarkov. I'm good at shooters. And then
headshot.
Then there's like 3 or 4 people that turn up every one, and I'm just like, this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
Why do they have to be so much better than me?
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way with Mario Kart, kind of thing. I'm okay, like I've managed to divert. I'm not looking for first. I'm just looking to get across the line at a decent sort of height.
But I don't want to be coming in 8th.
But, yeah. But the thing is, like, there are some people who are like really, really good, and that's fine.
Yep.
But the
not
thing
not
is,
denoting skill.
yeah, but there are times like I think it's the most recent Mario Party, no, not Mario Party, Mario Kart game where you can hear me on the VOD. I fucking lose it at somebody. See, the thing that happened because the thing like I'm okay with Mario Kart. It's just the RNG can just be a little bit mean, and at that point, I'd gotten I'd have several nasty RNG things happen at once, and I'd gotten stuck in the light. So basically, I'd made a jump, got hit by a red cell, so fell straight down, got picked up by a Lakitu, put to the start of the thing again, jumped, got hit by another red shell and dropped again, and then put right back to the start again. And I was not very happy, but I was at the point where I'm just like, I'm gonna yell about it, and then I'm gonna purge my anger, and that's it. I'm gonna keep going. But then somebody said
something. Yeah.
said
Get
the
good.
word just get good or something.
Oh.
And I just fucking lost it on them. Because how do I get good at RNG? I can't. I don't have an item. Okay, maybe if I had an item to stop one of the shells, fair enough. I could have used it. But I didn't. I hadn't even contacted an item box at that point. There was nothing I could have done. I went 5 seconds before getting hit again. I had no items, no way to dodge it. I can't just jump out the way or anything like that. So I just lost my shit.
Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it for the person who... I'm not going to name the person who did that. That'd be unfair. But if that person is who they are now watching, before you jump to "it was a joke," my response is "it was a fucking shit joke." So
it wasn't, bruh. It wasn't a joke. I know.
I know. The thing is, before someone trying to dismisses that as a joke or play it off as in Schrodinger's asshole, it's there's a time and a place for when to make comments like that, and that was a shitty time. Make that comment.
Yeah, if it was a joke, what was the fucking punchline?
Yeah, I mean, RNG is the reason I gave up, playing most tabletop games. The reason I gave up on the Blood Bowl tournaments that are regularly run in other communities that we're all part of is because of the RNG screwing me over repetitively. So they're fun games, but a lot of these competitive games have an element of RNG in them that I just can't stand. Because no matter how good I prepare and how skilled I am at something, that is always a variable.
Yeah, the feel bads are very feel baddy.
So if for example, I understand where you're coming from, Shadow. If for example I was playing Blood Bowl and I rolled 3 skulls, and then re-rolled and then rolled 3 skulls again, and somebody said, "Oh, you just need to get better at the game," I'd be pissed at them too.
Yeah. I've had that. You've seen me we played a game of X-Wing on Sunday, Lemming, and you've seen me roll dice and then re-roll them and they'll come out blanks. It's just sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
It's just
it's not in your favor. It's a thing.
Yeah.
But sorry, but you've been very quiet. You got any input?
No, I mean, because of the reasons that we've talked about before on this particular podcast, I'm not really very competitive against anything. Whenever we are playing,
you are very chill
together.
Yeah.
It's like I'm just having fun. I know I'm in the last or close to the last place. I'm just trying to have fun.
He's having the best fun. He's having the best fun, chat.
Yeah, I do get absolutely frustrated with myself whenever the situation is that everyone is trying to win and me just having fun doesn't cut it. And it's
Oh, I don't know,
because
I enter Mario Kart with the feeling of I'm just gonna go with the flow and see how I get on. But yeah,
and occasionally bully me.
yeah. But I wanted to say, I just wanted to say about the esports side that I might not be following it too much. I was following it much more back when TB or Jeff and Controller Robinson were shoutcasters. I was following esports much more, but I still, whenever I stumbled stumble upon a interesting match, interesting competition, I do enjoy watching that. I do enjoy what kind of the kind of performance, the kind of show they are being made into.
Yes.
With good quality of shoutcasting, with good commentary, with interesting way that the competitions are being shown. They're really fascinating. Like I don't really watch much sports. I tend to fall asleep at football.
I mean,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, but when I accidentally, for example, on one of the sports TVs that my dad has, when I accidentally stumbled upon a League of Legends tournament or Overwatch or Counter Strike or something, or I really enjoy watching that. I really enjoy listening to the commentary, and it's a fascinating thing to watch.
Some
Yeah.
games lend themselves very well to it. Like naturally, games like fighters, RTS games, shooters, and
Oh
things.
yes, yes.
I was think you can make a good scenario. Like for example,
Mm.
I I used to see a show back in the day, like we're talking the 90s here, where it was two players racing through a platformer.
Mm.
Like Tomb Raider, and see like who could get the furthest. I quite like those concepts to see like how someone
Mm.
can use that term. And speed. Where my area of expertise is speed running.
Mm.
Is I've been
Yeah.
watching games done quick for the last few years, and it's fascinating to kind of see like, because to me that requires a whole idea of skill, because it's the idea of like, I used to think that it was cheating, engaging these exploits, but actually to try and engage these exploits requires experimentation, then also requires you to perfectly execute certain scenarios to lead you to skip certain segments of the game so that you can
Yeah.
then finish it as fast as possible. Like I found the world record today for the original Medieval is half an hour, 30 minutes. And it was, I found a video talking about how all these techniques that are used to do that and how when they were discovered and how that changed the way they went. And even saw a video about how Monkey Island 2 is sped run, how that went through a whole process of finding how even a different version of the game ran faster, and so they use that version and things like. It's such a fascinating thing for me to see that, and the competition aspect of that. And of course there is the trophy hunting element, which I do get involved with. I'm not a big competition in that, but it is nice to be able to say like, oh yeah, I got a
Yeah.
platinum,
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
No, you
Shadow,
go first.
Shadow first, then Burr.
No, Burr first, because he's not spoken.
Okay, Burr first, then Shadow.
Okay, I just wanted to add to that when you were talking about the King of Kong, it reminded me of speedrunning, uh, and how it changed, how the thing changed, that instead of getting, doing it for the monetary value, for the fame, glory, and all the like very personal greedy reasons, mostly it is done for charity and for fun. And a lot of speed running events, they are just charitable events where you raise money for
Yeah.
for a charity.
Mm.
That's what I wanted to say. No, back to you, Shadow.
Yeah. So, yes, this is the time where I bitch about WoW again. So there is something in WoW which is there's multiple competitive sort of things in WoW, none of which I'm a part of, all of which I despise, and the main one, there's the PvP with the arenas and stuff like that, which is understandable because since time immemorial, everybody's wanted to be the best by punching each other in the face. So we're going to ignore PvP, despite it being filled with a seething mass of racist, homophobic, bigoted assholes. And yeah, I'm probably going to get a lot of shit on that on Twitter. Bite me. So yeah, we're going to ignore the WoW PvP community, which is a thriving piss pit of awful, and we're gonna look on the PvE competitive. So there are multiple competitive scenes in World of Warcraft. Yes, there are competitive scenes in World of Warcraft for reasons. So the first one is World Firsts, which is basically guilds get together to see who can be the first person to beat the final boss of a new raid in every, content patch and stuff like that. And they always do it on Mythic because Mythic's the hardest level kind of thing. That's where you get all the new mechanics and stuff like that. So there's always that. That's fine. I don't mind that. It's actually quite fun to watch sometimes. You can watch them like guilds doing the world first runs. It's fun. It's fun. It's interesting. Like it's a riot of color and nonsense, but it's fun. Now there's another competitive scene, and that's Mythic Plus running. Now, Mythic Plus running is there are dungeons in the game where you run these dungeons in a party of 5, and there are technically 3 plus difficulties. The first is normal. First is normal. The second is heroic, which is harder than normal. More stuff going on. The third is mythic, which is harder. More stuff happens. Lots of more stuff. And then there's Mythic Plus. Now, Mythic Plus is basically Mythic, but with higher levels of difficulty with each number that goes up. And the mobs will get like it's called an affix, where basically there's an affix where all the mobs will blow up when you attack them. There's an affix where you get followed by a spirit, and the spirit punches you in the back of the head every now and again because for some reason, I think a dev had something up their ass one day and decided that pain was the thing. And some will leave. Some will be like, I cannot be crowd controlled because fuck you, and such like that. And basically, so it's a competitive sport to run these as fast as you can because you don't get because the problem about Mythic Plus is in order to get to the next level of key and therefore better gear, you have to run the dungeon in a time limit. Can you see the problem? And if you manage to do it within the time limit, you go up to the next key, which is more hard, and then so on and so forth. But if you don't manage to run the dungeon within that time, if you take too long, you either stay at that key or your key gets downgraded. As you could probably imagine, this creates bad behavior, very bad behavior, because the problem with having a competitive scene is there is the creation of a meta. And if you reach Mythic Plus, if you do not play the meta, you are bad. They will kick you out of the group immediately. And then there's also the creation of groups where it's like, I would like to get an achievement. I would like to get the achievement for beating this raid or this dungeon on Mythic, so I can join groups that need this. But I can't join the groups that will give me that achievement because they keep saying I need the achievement in order to join that group. Kind of thing.
So basically, it's full of gatekeeping.
Concern.
Yeah. The gatekeeping in, like, I'm singling out WoW in particular because I've had the most experience of it, and I think with Shadowlands and everybody moving, well, a lot of good people moving over to Final Fantasy 14, it's left just the absolute fucking worst people in World of Warcraft remaining. So it's gotten worse. It's just absolutely disgusting. I have had more people, like, I don't play, like, I'll be real fucking honest with you, chat. I did not play World of Warcraft at peak efficiency. I did not play the meta. The only time I played sort of the meta was when I raided, and that was back in Legion. So I just play with like the talents and abilities that I will use leveling in the game, and then I just go into the dungeon and do my own thing. I have been called out several times in groups of this year by going, "Are you AFK or are you even doing damage?" kind of thing. And I'm like, I'm hurting people. I am doing my best. This is the first time I've done this dungeon. I have no idea what the fuck's going on, kind of thing. So it's just, a roiling cesspit at the moment in World of Warcraft. Disgusting.
This
and
is
I fucking hate the meta, and I wish it burned in hell.
This is yeah. Keep going.
Yeah. Go. I was saying, go on, Lemmy.
This is a massive sticking point with any game with any sort of competitiveness in it. An example that comes to mind for me is Rainbow Six Siege. We've all seen Rainbow Six Siege, competitive, like not even term, competitive first-person shooter where you're breaking in or defending a location, and there are situations even in casual play where if you pick a certain character, there is a character called just the Recruit, and he's your basic character, no ability, but good enough loadout. And if you pick this character, they will start voting to kick you because they assume you're AFK.
Yeah, that's because that's the one thing I hate. The meta when a meta is created, people assume that you will play the meta or you don't play at all, kind of thing. And
I
it's
hate
not
that.
who I am.
Yeah.
It's like the meta isn't fun to me. I want to play with the stuff that I want to play with. Like in Squadrons, I will never play the meta because I'm not good at the meta. It's not fun for me. So I would probably get kicked as soon as somebody saw me with like non-meta stuff.
This is why I hate.
Absolutely despise people who are just like, "I play the meta, I don't play it at all."
This is the downside of like games introducing this competitive element, is that you then create a section. You have a section of the community that care are very dedicated, but then they are just complete assholes. If I'm just honest,
this is the problem with the advent of esports is like a big thing, because esports was birthed from games that were fun to play and could be competitive, worked well in a competitive setting, so people started doing it professionally. StarCraft, League of Dota, etc. Very fun to watch. And it is very fun to see somebody who is the best at the world at something doing that thing. It's great to see professionals be professional at what they do. Footballers, millions of people stack stadiums to watch footballers play. But because esports became a big multi-million-dollar thing, all game developers were like, well, we've got to make our video game esports ready.
Yeah.
Remember that phrase?
Yeah.
And so every game had to be ready for a competitive angle, which shouldn't be there.
Which
there are
then
certain games that do not need to be competitive.
Which then championed the idea of like, okay, multiplayer is what we need to focus on, and then sideline single player.
Yeah. Which then brings out all of the competitive people.
But
I've not really seen the esport ready as a selling point for a long time, thank God.
No.
Yeah,
which is good.
It wasn't to begin with.
Yeah. But I wanted to say it's really hard to make the game, like esportable if you are doing it for monetary reasons and not because you yourself are a great fan of that. Like, I wanted to give as an example Celeste, which is a game that is made with speedrunning in mind. It's been built so that speedrunners have absolutely wonderful time in that game. But at the same time, it's done with the best, most interesting, most useful accessibility options as well. So people, if they want to be the best in the world, they can be the best in the world. They can do crazy times in speedrunning Celeste and in 100%ing Celeste. But scrubs like me can also have fun time in Celeste for the same reasons.
I mean, Laura, who we know has had experience in playing Tekken, professionally. And I think those games are perfectly suited for that because they literally are fighting games. They literally player versus player. That is literally what it should be. If anything, there could be arguments why a story mode is superfluous in those games. Although I do like that they include those. But yeah, it's I just think that we went through a stage where everyone was trying to get games to be in esports, and without realizing, should our game be in esports?
I remember that. I remember those
Yeah.
days, Gandalf.
They were spending too much time thinking whether they could,
and not whether they should.
stop to think whether they
They
should.
were
Yeah, I
seeing they were seeing the bullet signs. But
if a
Those are
game
signs.
if a game receives an esport, it's because that game like works as an esport naturally. Like StarCraft became an esport not because it was designed as a competitive game. It was designed as a fun real-time strategy that had a multiplayer built in, and it became a massive esport. Well done. It has to happen naturally. Escape from Tarkov has a very small competitive section where they run tournaments and do interesting things, but it's very small, which is why it works. They get the best players and just, okay, here's some objectives for you all to do. Go. And it works because they found a way of making it work. It wasn't built into the game. The people playing the game made it because they wanted to do it.
One of the things I want to finish off today with one of the things, which is, would you consider? I personally think there's an argument to be made here that competition.
If we're finishing, before we finish, I wanted to touch on one other
Sure.
example. Other example of when a game can stop being a game. Because
Sure.
I was thinking about how I was many times watching Laura play Tekken, and she was doing very well competitively, and being in equal measures like frustrated at whether the person she was playing was better than her, or at the things like internet disconnecting or the other person disconnecting, so not to take the L, etc. But I was thinking about the streaming itself. One, the streaming, and two, like another job related to the gaming media, like writing about games, because there is a time and there are people and there are moments where it stops being entertainment, it stops being a game, it starts being a chore, it starts being a slog. You start looking at games not as this is something that I would have fun playing, but more like this is something that I have to write for in 4 days, or
that's why I don't review games.
that I will have to like
This is why I gave up gachas.
This is like I will have to organize like 8 to 10 sessions or maybe 20 sessions to finish this game on stream, and if I'm not good enough I might not do it as quickly as I was hoping.
Yeah,
it starts taking a lot away from the enjoyment of playing the game.
it's also why I'm glad I actually never pursued video games as a career. Because
same.
Being my job and my hobby, it's
I do want to kind of think it's a good point to make. I also want to point out that I think that a lot of competitions can lead to a lot of toxicity and gatekeeping, as you mentioned, Shadow. I would argue that Dark Souls games are that, because people literally brag about it.
Yeah, because Dark Souls, you're not competitive against other people. You're competitive against the game. You're still competing. You're still trying to like beat something that is very difficult ahead of you.
I think but the problem here, I would say, is this does sound like a very noble and great idea, fighting against yourself and being better than yourself. But the problem starts when there would be groups of people like saying that I beat this game and you didn't scrub, so you're like subhumans and I'm superhuman. And that's the problem with
that is awful. And I want to kind of list on here, and also an idea that you can, quoting Star Trek, it is possible to make no mistakes and still lose. And I say that because
that is not weakness, that is life.
That is life. Now, and I will say this because there was a point where I was trying to make X-Wing, get competitive in X-Wing. I studied, I practiced, I looked at theory, I researched everything. I went into a tournament and I choked. I didn't pull it off. And I looked back at it and thought, I invested all this time, this effort, these resources for fuck all. What's the point? And at that point, I kind of put my game away and said, "That's it. I'm not playing X-Wing in a competitive way ever again." Because I looked at the point and thought, I put on all this effort and still got nowhere with it. And it's the antithesis idea that, oh, if you study hard, if you do good, you will succeed. Bullshit.
Nope.
Completely
That's
bullshit.
not how it works.
That's not how it works. And I think that
sometimes you just need to get lucky.
I used to just get lucky, and I think people need to realize that some people just don't want to fucking deal with the effort to learn something to then not get anywhere.
Yeah, that was why I stopped laddering. That's why I only laddered in StarCraft 2 very, very briefly, because it just wasn't fun.
No.
It just wasn't fun. And I was just like,
Yeah. I looked
No.
back on my games, realized I was having fun. I wasn't having fun because I was trying so hard to win. And I remember it killed me. I've never tried for hard for something in my entire life, bar my my exams, and it fucking destroyed me inside to try so hard, so hard, and still fucking fail at that hurdle. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, fucking sucks.
yeah.
Not
I'm
everybody is
sorry.
built to be not everybody is built to be an esports player, and people need to remember that not everybody is trying to be or capable of being massively hyper competitive.
Yeah,
So maybe chill out.
Yeah.
You know, don't try to expect everybody to be on your level.
Yeah, I just seeing competitive players like lose their shit because like some part of the game was made easier. It's just I'm tired.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's like
Let
guys.
other people enjoy what you can enjoy.
Yeah, like guys, not every one of us is unemployed. Some of us have jobs and kids and family and
Also,
shit to do.
Yeah.
Like,
Games are made for everyone, not just for you.
Yeah.
I think it's a good place for us to finish it for tonight, especially since we are over by about 20 minutes. Lemming, I apologize.
It's fine. It's fine.
And then, guys, so we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. Have we covered the topic enough? I don't know. Well, I'll have to see if what Laura says when she watches the episode back.
She'll have to grade us.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll revisit the topic in the future. We'll see. As for the next time you'll see us again in a month's time on the 26th of September, or unless something else happens that time. Sometimes things come up. Regardless, you'll see us very soon. I'll be streaming Thursday? ? We'll see. And yeah, with that, I'm going to say I always enjoy speaking to my friends. I want to thank Burr joining me. I want to thank Lemming. I want to thank Shadow. Good night, everyone.
Good
Good night.
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 Don't let the competitive bug bites get